First, let's kick things off with tamarind. So tamarind, I recently bought for I want to say it was a Thai dish that we made, and so now I have a bunch of this tamarind in my fridge. It's fascinating to me because I never really had much of a relationship with it, but I saw you post about it. I want to say quasi recently on your Instagram page. Can you tell us a little bit about tamarind, why you love it, what people use it for, etc.?
Yeah, totally. Tamarind is a really, I think I remember I made that post because I made some fresh tamarind juice at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, tamarind is a really prominent one, especially in Caribbean herbal medicine, but like throughout the tropics. It's something that's been so naturalized. They're just these huge trees that develop over time. And when they start to fruit, it's like they're covered. And so with how much that they really have, you know, they tend to be pretty abundant when people do have them, which is I think where the idea of juice comes in. They're native to Africa originally, and then were brought into the Caribbean. And they're one of my favorites alongside things like hibiscus, as like really cooling, tart medicines. And something that's really interesting to know or to think about that I get fascinated with is the way that plants come from where they originate and then how different cultures or their diaspora of where they come from uses them a certain way. So like tamarind is really used for the pulp. We'll, soak it, separate it from the seeds, and then blend that with water, add some sugar or something, and that's, tamarind juice. Whereas in traditionally within Africa, the bark is used, the leaves, the seeds. There's spiritual significance to the trees, which also pass into some parts of the Caribbean as well. Um, so it's one of those that, yeah, it carries a lot of history with it, especially. But tamarind is definitely one of my favorite in the summertime
Mm-hmm.
to like cool down. Just even you can even get the pulp, which is like it already has the seeds out, um, and then blending it down with water. Some people will boil it, but I usually just blend it. Water, a little bit of sugar, maybe honey or something, so it's not
Sure.
super intense, which is nice though, because sometimes it's really hot. You want to cool down, your blood sugar's low. It like helps to really revitalize in that way. But yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite for that. And I was experimenting with some recipes, a Trinidadian recipe specifically,
Mm.
doubles, if you've ever tried that,
No.
which is really delicious. It's basically, it's like on this bread called bara, which is like a fried bread. And then they cook down the chana or the chickpeas with curry spices and potatoes and things. Usually has like a pepper sauce, like a hot sauce, and then a tamarind chutney. And so I made it and I was like, I really want to make
Damn.
good tamarind chutney. Yeah, and it was really, really delicious. And so I haven't really used tamarind in that way. I know that I've seen sauces with it, I've seen things like that. And I wouldn't say, in Puerto Rico specifically, maybe sometimes use it in that way.
Mm.
But after making the chutney, I was like, I have to make this on a regular basis. It's really
That
good.
sounds dank. So Puerto Rican food, they do use tamarind on occasion then?
Usually like tamarind juice. I've seen
Oh,
in more
okay.
recent like people who are doing kombucha. I've seen tamarind kombucha. I
Oh,
have
wow.
seen some tamarind sauce from like smaller brands.
Sure.
Or maybe I'm trying to think of anything else. Juice is like one of the big things.